As the report published on the Cronista website recalls, Gates was part of Event 201, a working group that analyzed possible scenarios for a global catastrophe. He himself did a coronavirus pandemic drill in October 2019, organized by the Johns Hopkins University Center for Health Security, the World Economic Forum, and the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. Interestingly, the test was conducted 2 months before the coronavirus pandemic, which led to the identification of the disease COVID-19, leading to criticism of Bill Gates and even the creation of conspiracy theories, especially since Event 201 theoretically handled it and all of a sudden, everything happened. This is how you know that this world works according to scripts, according to psyops, according to the Hegelian dialectic. Going back to a man named George Hegel, he created the Hegelian dialectic, where pretty much the people in power, they come up with a problem, they cause a problem, they push this problem, and from that problem you have a reaction. So it's like a thesis, and then you have an antithesis, an antithesis. And I know that word is kind of like hard to say, antithesis, antithesis, but you pretty much you have that. You have a pre-canned solution based off of a problem that's in play, and from that problem, the reaction. From that reaction, you come up with a solution. And this is what's at play when it comes to these events. COVID-19 was the problem, and the reaction from it was people getting sick and whatnot. Most of it was orchestrated and skewed when it comes to the numbers. You know, a lot of the propaganda behind it, it was more exaggerated than what was really at play, because the recovery rate for the virus was 99% for most people in the world. So it was a lot of bullshit behind that, but you understood that it was agenda-based anyway if you're able to see through it. But with COVID-19, you had, pretty much a reaction from the problem caused, and the solution was the vaccines and the mandates and whatnot. But that solution pretty much caused more of a problem, because you had people that wasn't willing to bow down and capitulate because they had their own mind, and they weren't willing to take a vaccine for a virus that has a 99.9% recovery rate in most cases for the majority of people on the earth. So it's just one of those things where you're able to identify the nefarious aspect behind what they pushing, which speaks more to, the plan aspect of things. Even DJ Khaled, a celebrity, he said that he referred to it as a plandemic, because that's what the fuck it was. 9/11, that was planned, that was a psyop. Hurricane Katrina, that was a psyop. All these things that occur are based off of psyops. This world is a script. And the Most High, he understands that, because he planned this out. His overall script based off of the prophetic aspect. But when it comes to the carnal aspect, the people in power, these diabolical people, they conspire. That's why you have Event 201. It's just nothing but a think tank. A think tank is where, these big wigs, these elites, they come together and they plan out things based off of world control, world domination, overall dictatorship. They the real conspiracy theorists. Or really, they just map it out. That's what they do. They conspire. I don't even like using that term, conspiracy theorist, because all it is just a person that's, inquiring about something based off of what he's told, or what's being disseminated to him. He's inquisitive about the bullshit aspect of the agendas, the propaganda. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's just something that you're digging into because you're asking questions, because you see the oddity of what's being disseminated to you when it comes to these events, these bullshit events. I'm not saying that people didn't die from COVID-19. What I'm saying is it was exaggerated. You even, at one point you could have went on Google and you could type in any 3 numbers and put the word cases, and it'll have something about those 3 numbers in somewhere when it comes to COVID-19. That's how you knew that it was just Google. It was generated. It was auto-generated to the point where you could just search up some shit and you would think that was actually real. It was bullshit. Any 3 numbers you could have put in and it would have some shit about cases, and according to whatever state it was in or whatever city or country. You could put in 447 and put the word cases next to it, and it would have some sort of article that was bullshit. So it's just like, it just lets you know that, okay, they really, really going hard with this agenda, making you think that this fucking virus is really, crazier than what it actually is. It's not. It wasn't. When I got sick, I didn't even know I was sick. It just felt like a regular flu. Even LeBron James, he was like, he did the little tweet with the meme, the Spider-Man meme. Which one is it? Is it the flu? Like, you know what I mean? So it's one of those things where you understand the nefarious aspect behind it. You see the bullshit behind it. So we gotta have a leg up when it comes to seeing through what it is that they push into us. But it's but so much we can do. We just gotta know. And, stick with the Heavenly Father. We can't change what they do. We can't combat it. Only way we can combat it is just by being spiritual and sticking with Him. But yeah, man, everything according to, what we see in this world, what we experience in this world, as far as like it being an overall grand scheme when it comes to the elite or the power structure, or it being the overall event that we have to experience, for the most part is based off of something that was already planned. You know what I mean? It wasn't organic at all. This world is not an organic world. Like, nothing happens just by happenstance. These events where you get people that get killed by the police, for the most part, that's based off of the Hegelian dialectic. Like, the George Floyd situation, Trayvon Martin. Now, in October this year, a new simulation called Catastrophic Contagion Plandemic was organized by Grand Challenges in Brussels, Belgium. There, the SEER was raised. What is SEERS? In this year's exercise, experts simulated a series of meetings of the Health Emergencies Advisory Council of the World Health Organization, the WHO, in which another pandemic posed by 2025 was addressed: severe epidemic enterovirus respiratory syndrome 2025, SEERS. So when it comes to what we know about this world, as far as the simulation aspect, the predictive programming aspect, Hegelian dialectics, it's something that we should reference and hold on to when it comes to what's coming in 2 years, in regards to what we shall see or what we shall endure, experience. It's all about understanding and having a leg up based off of the nefarious aspects of this world, as well as having an understanding of the scriptures, the prophetic element where the Most High blessed us with this knowledge and wisdom to where, we can see beyond the bullshit. We can see the forest through the trees. We can see the forest through the trees. And we already know what's coming. So it's all about just having that ability to utilize foresight, the spiritual element, where that's the most important thing, putting the Most High first. Because we already know what they're going to do in this world. The diabolical element of the power structure, they're going to push these agendas hard. And this is just the Most High's way of giving us a heads up when it comes to just grasping the spiritual element and assessing the nefarious aspects of the enemy. It says the session, led by Bill Gates, featured health experts from Senegal, Rwanda, Angola, Liberia, Nigeria, India, Singapore, and Germany, who sought answers on how to respond to the pandemic based in one part of the world. Like COVID-19, the disease will spread rapidly, become a pandemic with a death rate comparable to that of COVID-19, and disproportionately affecting children and youth. According to study estimates, 20 million people will die, of which 15 million will be children. And this is how you know that this is all skewed. This is all based off of the predictive element, as well as, the element where certain aspects of what's disseminated is bullshit, is lies when it comes to the numbers. Like I said, back in 2020, 2021, around the time where COVID was really a thing and really at its heights, as far as the narrative aspect, you have a lot of different numbers that you could just search up. Any numbers, any set of numbers, and you could put the word cases in. It will have an article about, said cases as far as whatever number you put. And I just feel like that was just all based off of, the agenda, the aspect where they just want you to think that this is something that's, everywhere. This is ubiquitous and this is just crazy. But when you really outside and you're around people, it's not like, who's dying? Nobody's dying around me. And I'm not saying that people didn't die. What I'm saying is it was just exaggerated. And I feel like this is no different when it comes to the predictive element of this. They want to just, throw numbers out there just to have you think that, yo, everybody dying, everybody, this is all going crazy. No, man, it's bullshit. At least in my perspective, in my view, it's bullshit when it comes to the numbers. But the children aspect, the way they emphasize it, I feel like that's just more of a target. We know the life of the body is in the blood, and the blood is at its purest, when a child is a child, when a person is young. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where you understand that aspect. You also understand the sacrificial element of the God that hovers over this world, that being Baal, where the Most High is pretty much utilizing Satan to hover over this world, and under the auspices of Satan, you have these pagan gods. COVID-19 was in, reference or veneration of the sun god, the crown virus, right? Like the crown of the sun. So when it comes to this, what I think of is Baal, the god of child sacrifice. So it's just one of those things where, you see it on that level, and you understand what this world is really about and what you're working with in this crazy world. But he says, let's hope that the predictions of Gates and company do not come true. I mean, shit, you had Event 201. You had Event 201. These people, man, they're diabolical. We gotta wake up and understand what's going on. This overarching dictatorship is diabolical. It's all based in these psyops, these orchestrated events, these plans. Nothing is organic when it comes to, pandemics and whatnot. It's all bullshit. And not even just pandemics, all these different events, all these different things that we have to experience, on the world front. For the most part, it's about 95% of the things in this world is all bullshit. It's not organic. Maybe even more than that. We live in a script. And the Most High lets us know these things. Very important to put him first. So I just wanted to go into the scriptures a bit in Psalms chapter 83 and verse 3, where it says, "They have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have taken crafty counsel." Remember what we read about Sears with the Health Emergencies Advisory Council. Also what we understand about the Council of Foreign Relations, think tanks, crafty counsel. They are confederate against thee, which you read in verse 5 here. Not skipping over, but just to go with the overall context of this video. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. In verse 4 where it said, they had said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation. That goes into the element where, black being a corporate designation has a lot to do with the eradication of that linkage between Israel and us when it comes to us descending from the people of the book. But it's not just that. We already understand, the Atlantic slave trade and whatnot, many different elements where the people in power went to great lengths to cut us off from being a nation, going back to the ancient times as well as these times. But more so, verse 3 and 5 is really what I wanted to emphasize in regards to the understanding of, what's at play. For they have consulted together with one consent. That's going into the think tanks, coming together, conspiring. They consult together. They are confederate against thee, because it's more exaggerated in our community. Even when it comes to, the vaccines and whatnot, that narrative, how black people, it affects them more, so they should run and go get the vaccines and this and that. So we got to have a leg up. And this spiritual element is what gives us a leg up. Once again, verse 3, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Who is the hidden ones? The hopeful elect, the elect of this world. So it's important for us to take heed to, these prophetic elements where you read these scriptures and it resonates and you understand, okay, the Most High is giving me this understanding because he's giving me a heads up. And we got to take this and, you know, utilize this and weaponize it, but not in a negative way, of course. Obviously, the Bible is our comforter, but it's also a weapon. So weaponize it. So I just want to emphasize further context about the hidden ones. Going into Proverbs verse 27 and 12. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself, but the simple pass on and are punished. The simple pass on and are punished because those people, they're impressionable and they pretty much immerse or engulf themselves in the narrative, in the agenda, in the overall grand scheme of the left-hand world when it comes to just being of it. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. We separate ourselves because we have a leg up. We understand what the Most High blessed us with in regards to our ability to, be able to understand or have foresight when it comes to the agenda that's at play, when it comes to the agenda that's coming, so on and so forth. A prudent man foreseeth the evil and hideth himself. Separate ourselves from all this stuff. Don't get caught up in all the narratives. We just have to understand. We have to foresee. We have to have foreknowledge, and we have to have the ability to have a leg up. And through that ability, we should hope to be saved and inherit the kingdom. The Most High already gave us that ability by giving us this beautiful understanding. So let's get Psalms 27. Psalms 27 and verse 5, where it says, For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion. In the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me. He shall set me up upon a rock. And now shall mine head be lifted up above mine enemies round about me. Therefore will I offer in his tabernacle sacrifices of joy. That's why it tells you when we read in Psalms 83, it just lines up with this. This is pretty much, or Psalms 83, pretty much a precept lining up with this. They have taken great crafty counsel against thy hidden ones. So when you read this here, going up to verse 4. One thing have I desire of the Lord, that will I seek after, that I may dwell in the house of the Lord all the days of my life, to behold the beauty of the Lord and to inquire in his temple. For in the time of trouble he shall hide me in his pavilion, in the secret of his tabernacle shall he hide me. He shall set me up upon a rock, and now shall mine head be lifted up above mine enemies round about me. Therefore will I offer in his tabernacle sacrifices of joy. I will sing, yea, I will sing praises unto the Lord. And now shall mine head be lifted up above mine enemies. It just goes into the corollary aspect when it comes to what you read in 83 and 5 of Psalms, or Psalms 83, verse 3 through 5. Just going into that aspect of, the people in power, our enemies, taking great crafty counsel against thee, against thy hidden ones, and pretty much consulting against us. But, we shall come out on top if, we endure, we separate ourselves, and we continue to follow the standard that was set for us.